When complex numbers are written in polar form, we have an alternative method for multiplying and dividing the complex numbers. Let z1 equal r1 times the cosine of theta 1 plus I sine theta 1, and z2 equals r sub 2 times the cosine of theta 2 plus I sine theta 2 be two complex numbers. Then we can find the product of z1 and z2 by multiplying the modulus and then adding the arguments of the trig expressions. So that would give me z1 times z2 equals r1 times r2 times the cosine of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus I times the sine of theta 1 plus theta 2. When we want to divide the complex number z1 by z2, we would divide the magnitude or the modulus of the complex numbers and then subtract the arguments. So we're going to solve z times w, where z is equal to 3 times the cosine of 20 degrees plus I sine of 20 degrees, and w is equal to 5 times the cosine of 100 degrees plus I times the sine of 100 degrees. To find z times w, all we need to do is multiply the magnitudes. So 3 times 5 is 15, and that's going to be times the cosine of, when you multiply, you add the arguments, so 20 degrees plus 100 degrees is 120 degrees, plus I times the sine of 20 degrees plus 100 degrees is going to be the sine of 120 degrees. Now we're going to find z divided by w. To find z divided by w, that would be 3 times the cosine of 20 degrees plus I times the sine of 20 degrees over 5 times the cosine of 100 degrees plus I times the sine of 100 degrees. Now to divide, you divide the magnitudes, so that's going to be 3/5. And then what we do is subtract the arguments. So 20 degrees minus 100 degrees is going to give me negative 80 degrees. Plus I times the sine of 20 degrees minus 100 degrees is the sine of negative 80 degrees. Remember, the argument of the trig functions in a complex number in polar form must be greater than or equal to 0 and less than 2 pi or less than 360 degrees. So what I'm going to do is find an angle between 0 degrees and 360 degrees that's coterminal with negative 80 degrees. That's accomplished by adding 360 degrees to each of these arguments. The result is that I get 3/5 times the cosine of negative 80 degrees plus 360 is 280 degrees, plus I times the sine of 280 degrees.